Hi, I'm Miss Powell. I'm the English teacher at this campus, and I just wanted to share a lesson with you on drawing conclusions. We know, I think, how to draw conclusions. We know that we draw conclusions based on information that we receive either in a text that we read or something that we've experienced, something that we've seen in the news. We draw conclusions daily. We might make a conclusion based on someone's web page or Facebook page. Just look at the type of character we think that they are. We've made a conclusion or drew a conclusion on candidates who we felt would be the best to serve us as president in the last election. So, yeah, we are constantly making conclusions, but we are going to have to draw conclusions, make inferences for that STAR test in the reading portion of that STAR test. So, let's see how that is done. Let's draw some conclusions today. Let me go ahead and present my screen. Yeah, let's draw some conclusions here today. We know that a holiday is coming up, and we're excited about that holiday. So I thought I'd use that kind of festivity to present this week's lesson on drawing conclusions. Yeah, what is drawing conclusions? TEKS 110, 31B, just what is that? Yeah, we're going to be able to draw conclusions based on evidence. And our TEKS go flying away and they fly back. The dictionary defines conclusion as a judgment, decision, or opinion formed after an investigation or thought process. We draw conclusions every day about incidents we witness, information we gather, about texts that we read. We can draw conclusions from videos as well as we do from books. We use the same type of technique of looking at evidence and drawing our conclusion. As you see this little video, coin operated, I want you to look at the little boy. Look at what he's wearing. Look at what he does. And then let's draw some conclusions about him and about his character. And based on that, let's see if we can determine the theme here. The main idea in this little video, what this little author, Nicholas Ariel, wants to show us about life and show us about this character. Let's see. Little spaceship flying through the air. Little boy is holding the spaceship, playing with his spaceship. Notice his little outfit. What has distracted him? Definitely not what he had in mind. What does he want to do? How is he going to achieve his goal? How does he finally achieve his goal? And how long did it take him? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's answer some questions based on what we just saw. We're going to draw some conclusions. And yeah, you can find this template. This will be part of your unit activity grade or a unit activity grade to go ahead and complete this little set of questions on coin operated. What conclusion can we draw about the child as he's walking with his mother? Notice how he's dressed. Notice how he's skipping around. What is he holding? What do we see at the beginning of the video? What does he have on his head? Why is that so significant? What is he wearing there? What distracts him? Why does he try to pull away from his mother when he gets to the grocery store? What does he want to do? Why does he look at the moon? What is his ultimate goal, would you think? What method does he use to achieve this goal? Notice how he opens up a little lemonade stand. How long does this take for him to achieve this? And what does this tell us about his character? Is he one that easily gives up? Does he ultimately achieve the goal? What do we see there at the end of the video? What can we conclude then is the theme or the main idea of the video? What does this reveal to us about achieving a goal? What do we have to do? When we read, we do the same thing. So in Google Classroom, you'll see a little story, the story of an eyewitness. We're going to go ahead and read that, and then you'll have some questions to answer. Let's see what that story says. Okay, in April 1906, a devastating earthquake struck the San Francisco Bay Area. In addition to the damage of collapsed buildings, many fires broke out and lasted for days, destroying much of the city. It has been called one of the deadliest natural disasters in United States history. At the time, Jack London, a famous fiction writer, was living 40 miles from San Francisco. Collier's, a national weekly news magazine, paid Jack London to be a special correspondent to describe the tragedy for its readers. An excerpt from his account, the story of an eyewitness, is shown below. The earthquake shook down in San Francisco, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of walls and chimneys, but the conflagration that followed burned up hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property. There is no estimating within hundreds of millions the actual damage wrought. Not in history has a modern imperial city been so completely destroyed. San Francisco is gone. Nothing remains of it but memories and a fringe of dwelling houses on its outskirts. Its industrial section is wiped out. Its business section is wiped out. Its social and residential section is wiped out. The factories and warehouses, the great stores and newspaper buildings, the hotels and the palaces of the nabobs are all gone. Remains only the fringe of dwelling houses on the outskirts of what was once San Francisco. Within an hour after the earthquake shock, the smoke of San Francisco's burning was a lurid tower visible 100 miles away. And for 3 days and nights, this lurid tower swayed in the sky, reddening the sky, darkening the day, and filling the land with smoke. On Wednesday morning at 5:15 came the earthquake. A minute later, the flames were leaping upward in a dozen different quarters south of Market Street, in the working class ghetto, and in the factories. Fires started. There was no opposing the flames. There was no organization, no communication. All the cunning adjustments of a 20th century city had been smashed by the earthquake. The streets were humped into ridges and depressions and piled with the debris of fallen walls. The steel rails were twisted into perpendicular horizontal angles. The telephone and telegraph system were disrupted, and the great water remains had burst. All the shrewd contrivances and safeguards of man had been thrown out of gear by 30 seconds twitching of the earth's crust. Oh, pretty terrible, pretty severe sights here. And we see the houses and the walls going down in the first picture. And then we see that horrible fire in the second picture. Pretty devastating experience here. Okay, let's look at some of the questions that you will see in your Google Classroom that will be part of another unit activity. What made Jack London a skilled fiction writer was also what made him a skilled literary nonfiction writer. Literary nonfiction is a type of prose that employs the literary techniques usually associated with fiction or poetry to report on persons, places, and events in the real world. These literary techniques may include the use of imagery, metaphor, repetition, symbolism, and so on. The genre of literary nonfiction includes travel writing, nature writing, science writing, sports writing, biography and autobiography, memoir, both the familiar and personal essay, opinion. Hey, well, this is news writing, and news writing done over 100 years ago by Jack London. Okay, and question number one, which word in the text means an extensive fire that destroys a great deal of land or property? Well, he said that this conflagration that lasted for hours as we saw the buildings burn. So I would say conflagration is a fire that destroys. Jack London repeats a powerful phrase 3 times to emphasize the severity of destructive results from the earthquake. Quote the section of the text that shows this, and what is that word that he repeats so many times? Skilled literary nonfiction writers use imagery to show the reader what they saw using visually descriptive language. Find and quote 3 examples of imagery description used to help the reader see the devastation he saw. And I think he uses a simile. He certainly uses a lot, a lot of uh, imagery to describe this. And what else does he use? Even the word conflagration is imagery. One common theme in literature is man versus nature, or the conflict between man and nature. Explain how the following line of text reveals that theme. All the shrewd contrivances and safeguards of man had been thrown out of gear by 30 seconds twitching of the Earth's crust. Okay, 30 seconds of twitching of the Earth's crust is certainly a metaphor used to describe the way that the earthquake just ripped up the roads and the uh, train tracks and the lamps. Okay, what is he saying about man's battle against nature? Is it something that we can win, something that we're stronger? Was our contrivance enough? Okay, in conclusion, when we draw conclusions, we act as a detective investigating evidence in the text or evidence from what we've seen or experienced. What do we do now? Well, now we go to Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, we go ahead and we complete the little questions, both on the coined operated and on the story of an eyewitness. And we can go ahead and submit that based on conclusions we've drawn by what we've seen and by what we've read today in our focused instruction. So thank you for letting me share this lesson with you. And let's go ahead, let's go to Google Classroom and let's complete the assignment now that we have drawn some conclusions.